Okay, so I've got this Psi constellation, and it's got scale. And so, really, the best thing to do at the point, because it's pretty bad right now, the best thing to do is use isopropyl alcohol. I'm using 91% because I'm just intense, I guess. You could just use the lower isopropyl alcohol, but it takes a while, and you will for sure, or at least let me say me, I in the past have for sure thought that I completely removed the scale from whatever plant it is, and that's false. I did not successfully do that. That was not actually accurate at all. So it takes a long time to get it off. And if you just generally, if you start feeling that your leaves are sticky, you very well may have some type of, bug parasite thing going on, because that excrement from the insect is is going to leave a sticky trail. And then what is scale? It would be kind of like, what's weird about that sentence, I think, is it's kind of saying like it's an interesting plural because scale is just a lot of them, but it's not saying like moose. Like there's a moose, and you have multiple moose or not mooses or meese. It's still moose. So really, I'm just going again and again and again on this leaf with isopropyl alcohol, and I really should be doing this every few days, and I don't. And that's why I still have problems with scale, because I don't do this every few days. And then it gets bad again. And so what I'm saying to you is don't do what I do and what most people do, which is if you have scale, either toss that plant out or if you're really diligent, you can you can get rid of it. But it is really hard, and they will come back. And they can cross plant to plant. This plant didn't originally have scale. There was a plant above, a hanging plant that had scale, and this was below it. And then some of the water dripped down onto this plant from the above plant that was clearly infested with these bugs. And it dripped down to the leaves here. And then they were like, oh, I love this, is a great plant to infest. And I've had this issue for a while now. But again, I could absolutely, if I like every few days went through the whole plant, I'm sure I could handle it, but I don't do that. The scale is really annoying, and a lot of people tend to get it from I mean, sure, from nursery plants you can, but if there's somebody who's online who's like, "Hey, I got this plant, it's dying, and I don't know why." Not positive. Check that plant before you get that plant, because if you get that plant and you don't check over it, or maybe they don't know, maybe they like did clean it, but there's some on there. You could for sure infest all of your plants. I mean, and it's a slow process, but scale moves they are slow moving bugs. And that's kind of what's tricky about them, is that they're hard to see, because they just look like little scales. They get in the crevices. You'll see them a lot. I mean, they'll get on the leaves for sure, but they'll also kind of live like down here. You can see there's a bunch of them right here. Can you see that? Those. That's scale. Those little jerks. So the isopropyl alcohol is kind of gets past their shell, the little scaly shell barrier, and then they detach. And then um, I'm using paper toweling because and not cloth because they're gross, and I don't want them to get into anything else. Like I just put isopropyl alcohol in there, get them out, and then my vacuum's going up, and then get rid of it. Get rid of these things. But you do honestly, like I really have to look down here at the bases, and that's where they're going to come back. They're going to come back when you clean the leaves, and you're like, I did a great job, but you did not. You did not clean the whole, the where it's shooting, where that leaf's shooting out from, or the base of the leaf too. You'll also see them at the base of the leaves. Like, see, there's a bunch already in there, and then I put it down again. And then this process continues. What I have also done is I have also just put, like, I'll put my plant in the shower. I had a rubber tree that had this for a really long time, and I eventually had to. It had it for like, I don't know. It had it for like a year and a half, and and I really would put it in the shower. I think that I got rid of all of it, and it was not the case. And so it just kept I kept being worried it was going to infest a bunch of other plants because it was. I was worried about it because that's the case. So my worry was from reality. Um, right now, there's still some sticky parts here, which I think I actually got all of the scale, the bugs itself. And now I'm just removing their nasty, sticky excrement, which is also why I'm wearing gloves. Number one, actually more importantly to me, is actually because the isopropyl alcohol will insanely, especially 91%, is going to dry your hands out tremendously. That's really unhealthy for you. For us as humans. And aside from that, I don't want gross bugs in my hands. Gross. Nasty bugs. I will also get the underside too. I'm mostly in, but it depends on the plant. You'll see some plants I've seen that they are really underneath the leaves, and then other plants, and I don't know the reason for the differentiation of that. But I can say look really close. And a lot of people will use a magnifying glass and they'll get in there. Right now I'm just doing kind of a quick over this, which you're probably saying, you just said don't do that. And that's exactly why this plant still has scale. So learn from my mistakes here. I know what to do. Just don't always do it. Oh, here's some right at the base right here. Oh, you little jerk. See, it's so easy to miss these. And something else I want to mention is I'll actually, um, I'll run over it with isopropyl alcohol, and then I'll wait a little bit, a little bit, as in like a few seconds or a minute. And then when I go over it again, they will have released. So clearly there's some time where the isopropyl alcohol needs to sit in order to affect them so that they release their little nasty grip. And it is hard to notice because it does just look like, some darker brown spots, but those darker brown spots are little nasty bugs. Did we get it? Probably not. And that's the moral of the story. Is is probably not. Moral of the story is, did you get all the scale? Uh, Imagine you didn't, and then keep going. Oh my gosh! There it is. There's more. So now there's some. A never-ending story. Da, 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 da. Oh my gosh, there's a bunch right here. Right here. I didn't even know. These are ones that are really tiny. Yeah. So I'm putting nice little block on here. I'm letting it sit for a minute. It actually, maybe this isn't scale. No, that is scale. This is where a magnifying glass would come in handy. Do I have a magnifying glass? Yes. I'm not using it. I know what to do, everybody, but yeah. Okay. So here I'm, check under the leaves. I think this is nice. Also these marks could just be from, that's where the scale was, and so the plant is affected by that. So it's just having some discoloration from where the bugs were. I think that's what's going on now. But it's a lot better. Oh, yeah. So as I'm checking under this leaf, there's some here, right there. There's some right here. These ones are coming off pretty easy. There's already some on there, so I'm gonna. The other thing is I don't want to spread them around. So as soon as they start coming off on the paper towel, I really switch over to another paper towel because I just don't. I don't want them to come back to life and be like, "Oh, that was intense." Oh, there's this leaf. I'm gonna attach onto this. It's fine. No, thank you. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. And they're right there, right in the little cranny of the leaf, where the leaf starts. Let's check these other ones for the same spot. This one seems good. But again, it seems good. Seems good now. And then in 1 month, it's not gonna be so good. Oh, here's some right here. This is absolutely what I mean. You think, okay, it's done. I got them all. False. They're right here. Mhm. I can see there's some right at the base over here. This is a little challenging. Sometimes I'll actually use um, Q-tips for these sections where it's a little tighter to get in. I think I can get it with this one. Yeah, I was able to get it with this. But sometimes I can't. But right now I couldn't. Okay. But again, if you only have like one that's a healthy little scale monster, they can just spread and they'll walk around, they'll detach from their little shell thing, they'll have legs. They won't always have legs, those will come off. Which is also weird. They'll be born essentially. They'll have their little leggies. They'll attach down onto a part of the plant. Their shell thing will be there. Their legs will be gone. They'll just remove those. They'll be like, "Bye, legs. I don't need you." And then that's it. And then they'll lay eggs though, and then again, those will make more little monsters that walk around briefly until they attach down onto a leaf, and then they'll make more of them. Which is why it's a slow process, is because they're not like walking all the time because they don't got legs. Well, the majority of their life they don't have legs. What a weird sentence that is. Majority of their lives they don't have legs. And they're tiny. There are different types. There's a ton of different variations of scale. So depending, I'm in Chicago. Depending on where, and of course, a lot of the scale that's coming in here are from tropical plants, anyways. But there is different scale all over the world of various sizes. Most of them are going to be pretty tiny, though. Okay. Well, we'll see how this goes. I hope I got it all planned. This is what I'm worried about right here. It's really tiny. It just looks like little dots, but I think it's where the scale was, not where it is. Because it's not coming off. I think this is just the plant now. This is where the scale was. Okay. Well, we did it. Goodbye.